am your host, Deanna Johnson-Coffin.
And I'm Adrianna Coffin, your co-host, and we're the mother-daughter talk show that's here to elevate your family. If you haven't done so already, please take a second to like this video and to subscribe to our channel so that you don't miss any of our upcoming episodes.
Yes, and we have a fantastic episode planned for you today. In our Around the Town segment, the Elevate Talk Show takes you to the Michelle Obama Trail, which is in Decatur, Georgia, at the Georgia State University Panthersville campus. A terrific place to go to walk, ride your bicycle, and just do all things outdoors. So you definitely want to stay tuned for that. Then in our perspective segment, we will be discussing, Adrianna and I, whether transracial adoptions are beneficial to children of color. So you absolutely want to stay tuned for that. And then in our continuing the conversation, this is where we continue the conversation that we had in the perspective session with our segment with a guest. And today's guest is a friend of mine named Candy Pearson. Candy and her husband Chad are the adoptive parents of a child of color, and she talks about the realities of a transracial adoption. All just really, really good things that you don't want to miss. Adrianna, can you tell them about another aspect of the show?
Yeah, so in our meal of the week, I'm going to be showing you how to make a delicious buffalo chicken dip, which is a great, easy weeknight meal.
Absolutely, absolutely. One of our favorite meals around here. You absolutely want to tune into that. And while we are thinking about it, we want to ask you, our viewers, to answer the following questions about transracial adoptions. Do you think transracial adoptions are beneficial to children of color? We'd like you to take a few minutes and go to our YouTube channel, and in the comments section, just tell us what your thoughts are. Are transracial adoptions beneficial to children of color? So we will definitely want to hear from you on that matter. We are going to take a short little break. Don't go away. We have a lot planned for you. We will be right back. Elevate Talk Show, and in this segment we talk about an issue that we think is important, and it's called our perspective segment. And today's issue is
today we're going to be talking about whether or not transracial adoptions are beneficial for children of color.
Yeah, that's our topic for today. So I can share my thoughts on that. I think that it's a hard thing, and I think that there are some benefits to adoption. We know that children, there are a lot of children in the foster care system that need parents. Children here in the United States, I'm sure there are children in other countries that need parents. So the idea of adopting a child is a great thing. I mean, I think every person wants a family, a home that they can call their own. But I think that adoptions in general are, although they're good things, they're also hard things, because what that means is that this child that's being adopted was taken away from another family, was taken away from their family, their biological family, for some reason or another. Something got broken, something didn't work right. And so I think just dealing with the adoptions in general are hard things, because you're taking a child that normally would have been with their own family, and now they're with you. And although I think it's a good thing, I think it has its challenges. Then add to it the stress, the additional stress of dealing with a child of another ethnicity. I think that's a very difficult situation for all involved. What do you think?
Yes, I definitely agree. I think that one of the issues with transracial adoptions is that a white person, because they haven't experienced discrimination and all the things that people of color have to deal with, they can't teach a child of color how to navigate the world as, with their ethnicity in mind.
Yeah. And I think that you can, and I know families who've done that. I have friends who have adopted a child from a different ethnicity. And I know that they've made concerted efforts to do what you talked about, to make sure that they move into neighborhoods that are, racially diverse, that they, that they expose their children to other things that would allow them to learn about their particular culture, the child to learn about the child's particular culture. I know friends who have been very deliberate about that, but it is a challenge, and it's very hard. And I think that if you don't go into it with your eyes open, I think you can be very disillusioned, and I think it could be painful for all involved. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, with that in mind, we are going to continue the conversation about transracial adoption in our next segment, but we do need to take a little break. We will be right back. Don't go away.
Welcome back to the Elevate Talk Show. Today we're going to continue our conversation on transracial adoptions with Candy Pearson.
Candy Pearson is actually a friend of mine. Let me tell you a little bit about her. Candy is the founder of an organization called MADE, MADE, M-A-D-E. It's a community get-together for women who live in Clarkston, Georgia. She operates an indoor plant curation business called The Plantery. She's also a stay-at-home mom to her 3 children, and since the pandemic, she has added homeschooling to her list of jobs. Candy and her husband Chad are the adoptive parents of a child of color, and in our interview, she talks very candidly about the realities of a transracial adoption.
So please turn your attention to the interview with Candy Pearson.
Well, thank you so much, Candy, for taking time out of your busy schedule. I know you are a busy mom, homeschooling mom, and so I appreciate you taking some time to talk with us today about this topic on transracial adoption. So there's a lot of things I want to pick your brain about, so I'm going to get straight into the questions. I guess the first thing I'd like to ask you is can you tell us, my Elevate audience, a little bit about yourself and your family and all of that?
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Candy Pearson, and I live with my family in Clarkston, Georgia, and it's the most diverse square mile in the U.S.
Yes.
Love it so much. I have been married to my husband, Chad, for, we just celebrated 17 years.
Wow.
Yeah, and then we have 3 kids together. So we have our son who just turned 12 yesterday.
Yes.
And we adopted him about 11 and a half years ago.
Wow.
And then we have 2 daughters who are 10 and 9. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So 2 girls and a boy. Wow, that's right. And you guys live in Clarkston. And I knew you lived in Clarkston. I just needed a reminder. But anyway, okay, so that's a little bit. So now you and I talked a few minutes before we got on the call about you homeschooling. So you're homeschooling family, at least you are right now. And yeah, and so that brings all of that dynamics to things. Tell me why. Now you talked about your adopted son. Can you tell us a little bit why about why you decided to adopt and just how all of that unfolded?
I guess, to be honest, we really thought that this was what God was calling us to do, was to adopt. Yes. We had we go to church. We're kind of been surrounded with this narrative of adoption and kids needing homes and that kind of thing out there. Yes. So a little history about my husband too. He grew up in Papua New Guinea with his parents. His parents are missionaries.
Okay.
So he grew up completely, on the mission field and that whole missional mindset. And so it was just kind of felt like, I guess, it ingrained in us that this was a good thing to do, and that this is, for us, we thought it was just how we wanted to start our family. So
Sure. Now you adopted a child from another ethnicity. And so, you gave some perspective there when you shared that your husband grew up as a missionary kid in Papua New Guinea. So I guess that played into, your decision to adopt a child from a different ethnicity. Is that true?
Oh, absolutely. Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that plus being super naive.
Oh, yeah. And we all are naive in our 20s. Let me tell you.
I mean,
oh my God, the things I thought in my 20s that I could conquer. Whew.
Yes. Not to say I have regrets, but
No.
I wish I knew more. I wish I knew things that I know now.
So now you adopted this child from a different ethnicity. Tell me how, and of course that it's the child is coming into your immediate home, but that affects all. I would imagine that affects other relationships, or at least other people in the extended family would have their thoughts, feelings on that whole thing. How did your extended family reacted at your side of the family, his side of the family? What did that look like, feel like? What was that?
Yeah, well, Chad and I kind of went into this whole thing thinking, love will conquer everything.
Sure.
Love is gonna get us through this, and
Yes.
And that's all we need.
Right.
And so when we told our parents, his parents and his family were pretty supportive. I mean, they, that was not something that was shocking to them at all, just based on the way he grew up and that kind of thing. So now on the other hand, telling my family, that was a whole different story.
Yeah.
And it's hard because I bet that they now, him being their grandson for 12 years now.
Yeah.
They would probably want to take back some of the things that they said beforehand, but
right.
But it was hard. There wasn't a great reaction.
Right.
And I can still,
yes,
play it back in my head, the words that were said, the reactions. Hard. It is hard. Yeah, it is hard.
Really hard. It's clear that transracial adoptions can be a very beautiful, meaningful thing for the adopted family, for the adopted child. But can you talk a little bit more about the pitfalls, about the challenges of adopting a transracially child? And then I'll follow that up with how has your family addressed those challenges?
Yeah, I think probably some of the biggest challenges faced are the challenges that my son has, just based on the loss that is experienced in adoption, and that those are things he'll carry with him for his whole life. But to speak to my experience personally, I think some of the hardest things throughout this whole journey have just been having my bubble popped, like having the veil taken off of my eyes, and and that's what my own privilege has done for me. I've been able to live through life not knowing what it is like to walk in the shoes of a Black person. So I guess the biggest challenge that I can personally speak to is the challenge of confronting my own biases and prejudices, and that that's hard. That's horrible, hard work. And it's uncomfortable.
Very much.
And but it's so important, and it's never ending.
Never.
Like it's never ending. It's a lifelong work.
Wow.
And this is work that I will be doing for the rest of my life, not only for the benefit of my son, but for the benefit of myself.
And I guess my last question would be, what piece of advice would you give people who are considering a transracial adoption?
If I could go back and have someone talk to me, before making these choices, and when I say this is me separating
Right.
the
Yes.
idea of transracial adoption from my son, because
Right.
I would not change anything about my son. Okay. So this is me separating that, but but I think I would. I wish someone had talked to me more about the importance of supporting organizations that try to keep families together, because I really think that should be our first goal.
Wow.
That should be our first thing to think of when we think of adoption. Like how can we try to pour into organizations that are trying to help families stay together. I mean, there are reasons, of course, that adoption exists, but there are reasons that don't have to exist. And I wish that we had, and we are now, in hindsight, we are giving to organizations and working in those areas of organizations that are really trying to keep families together and make it to where being poor or being without something is not a reason to have to give up a child. So so I think I would try, if you're considering adoption, I would try and explore some of the other sides of it, try and explore what could I do to keep a family together. But if this is something that you really feel like you need to do, I guess, for me in that situation, I really was only taking into account my feelings about it.
Right. And I think you're so right about that. And in a lot, that happens in many cases. We don't think of the other side. We sort of want the adoption is it's so grandiose. It's so, it's high and lofty, and it seems like such a wonderful thing to do. And I think you can get caught up in it. You know what I mean? And not that it's not a good thing. Yeah, but you know what I mean? I think like you said, even particularly in church settings, it's, I remember our church back in the day, we raised money for a couple so that they could have the money to do an adoption. And it was all, the whole church was all in. It was this big, it was almost like a church building fund. And I just remember it being this big, really thing. And I didn't want to say anything against it because I didn't want to be the odd man out. But I remember thinking, if we have to raise all this money for them, is this really the best thing to do? I don't know. But I didn't say anything because I just thought that's not, obviously I'm not Christian enough because I'm thinking these negative thoughts. And so, but
I mean, I've had those thoughts too, I mean, it's hard to come on, your show and talk about these things because it's vulnerable and it's hard. It's not what people want to hear about adoption.
I know.
So, the other advice I would give you is that if you are not comfortable being in spaces that are not majority white, I would not consider adopting transracially. If you do not have community around you that is diverse, racially diverse, I would not consider transracial adoption. If you, if you can't find a therapist that would be the same ethnicity as your child, I would not consider transracial adoption. If you have not already done a lot of work on your own biases, and tendencies towards racism, I would not adopt transracially. If you're not willing to continue to do work for the rest of your life on those things, I would not consider it. It's just it's
Yeah,
not fair to your
it's not.
child if you're not
No,
willing to do all these things.
no, not at all.
And
Not at all.
I've had to learn the hard way. And I'm so glad that I have had people,
Yes,
like you, pouring
yes, yes,
into my
yes,
life in the shape
yes,
of a Be the Bridge
yes,
group
yes,
where I
yes,
could just listen and learn. I mean,
yeah.
that's been
Wow,
huge. So,
that's
and if someone's
amazing.
not willing to do that,
Yeah,
please
don't do
just
it.
don't.
I think
Yeah,
that is amazing advice. I think it's sobering. I think it's wisdom. And I think people need to hear that more than you know, Candy. I appreciate you being vulnerable, being willing to be vulnerable, willing to share honestly and candidly. I think that this is the kind of things that help
absolutely.
us move forward. And I adore you. And we'll continue to pray for each other.
Oh,
That we'll all learn. I'm learning from you too. And so I really appreciate you. And so thank you for taking time out of your schedule to share with us, my audience today. We really appreciate it.
absolutely.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you for having me.
Well, we hope you enjoyed our interview with Candy Pearson. We have to take a short little break, but we will be right back. Don't go away. Well, we are back and we get to do my favorite part of the show. This is our Around the Town segment. And this week we go to Decatur, Georgia, which happens to be my hometown, to the Michelle Obama Trail, which is located at the Georgia State University Panthersville campus in Decatur. It was a trip my husband and I took. It was a trek we took just a couple of weeks ago. Actually, you were not with us.
Yeah, my parents went on a date to the walking trail and they didn't invite me, but I guess it wouldn't have been a date otherwise. But I saw the pictures on Facebook and they seemed like they had a great time.
We did have a great time. It's a beautiful park, wonderful, lots of nature, trails and woods and creeks and it hooks up to other parks in the Decatur area, Gresham Park, place where you can go cycling and just all things outdoors. We even saw a deer. We tried to get up close to it, but it ran away. But it's just a beautiful place for you to experience nature up close and personal. So take a look at our time at the Michelle Obama Trail. This week's Around the Town takes us to the Michelle Obama Trail, formerly known as the South River Path, located at the Georgia State University Panthersville campus on Clifton Springs Road in Decatur, Georgia. On January 13, 2018, DeKalb County Commissioner Larry Johnson and other community leaders joined park staff to celebrate the trail unveiling. The trail is the first in the nation to be named after the former First Lady, Michelle Obama. The Michelle Obama Trail, a 6.5-mile moderately trafficked area, is located near the South River and has a path that is good for all skill levels. The smooth trail surface is made up of asphalt and cement and is typically about 6 feet wide. There is a painted center line along most of the route, which reduces the width. My husband Andrew and I visited there in early October for a leisurely walk. As we strolled along the path, we saw a lovely deer make its way from one side of the trail and then disappear into the woods on the other side. The trail is primarily used for walking, running, and cycling and is accessible year-round. Dogs are also able to use this trail, but must be kept on a leash. The trail can be very remote, so come prepared with your cell phone, water, and a walking partner. The paved trail, which goes from Gresham Park to the GSU campus, runs parallel to the Sugar Creek Golf and Tennis Club, which is also located near the South River. Additionally, since the trail is located on the university's campus, there is plenty of parking and the trail is easily accessible. The Michelle Obama Trail at the South River is a wonderful place to recreate and connect with nature, and we plan on visiting again soon. For more information about the Michelle Obama Trail, visit www.traillink.com/trail/South River Trail. Well, we hope you enjoyed our adventures at the Michelle Obama Trail. We got to take a break, but we'll be right back.
Welcome back to the Elevate Talk Show, and today's meal of the week is going to be buffalo chicken dip, which is a really great, easy weeknight meal with just a few different ingredients.
Yeah, we enjoy eating buffalo chicken dip around here a lot. It's one of our favorite meals. It's got a bit of a kick. It's spicy. And add a few tortilla chips and some cucumbers or celery or bell peppers, and you have a great balanced meal. So take a look at our meal of the week with Adrianna.
Hello and welcome to our Meal of the Week segment. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make a delicious buffalo chicken dip. So let's get started. So this is a really easy dish with just a few simple ingredients, and I'm just going to show you how to put it together. So right here I have 3 chicken breasts that I baked and cut up, but you can use a rotisserie chicken if that's easier, or you can use leftover grilled chicken, just any cooked chicken that you have. So these are 3 chicken breasts. And I'm going to add that to our bowl. And then I'm going to add 10 ounces of cream cheese, so 1.5 bars of softened cream cheese, a cup of ranch dressing, 1.5 cups of mozzarella cheese, and a cup of hot sauce. I really like Louisiana hot sauce. You can get it at Kroger or Walmart, but you can use any brand of hot sauce that you enjoy. So now that we've put all those ingredients in the bowl, we're just going to mix them up, and then it'll be ready to go in the oven. Alright, so now that the chicken dip is in the pan, I'm just going to pop this into a 375-degree oven for about 40 minutes, and then I'm going to take it out and show you the final results. Alright, so the buffalo chicken dip is done. It's very delicious, and I'm going to give you a close-up shot. So what you can do to serve this is to pair it with some tortilla chips right here, or you can cut up some bell peppers. I've got some red ones and some green ones and some yellow ones, or you can also do celery sticks or cucumber slices. So I hope you enjoyed this recipe, and I can't wait to see you again next week.
Okay. Well, we hope you enjoyed the meal of the week. We got to take a little break, but we'll be right back. Bye. We are back, and our time together is almost up. But before we go, I'm going to remind you that each Sunday evening, we put up a new episode of the Elevate Talk Show on our YouTube channel. So please take a moment to go there and view our episodes, the new episodes, as well as all of the other episodes that are on the channel as well. And if you want to, you can also catch us on Comcast Channel 25 if you live in DeKalb County, Georgia, or you can go to DeKalb25.com, go online, stream the show 7 p.m. Sunday evenings there as well.
Thank you for watching the Elevate Talk Show, and if you liked our show, please subscribe to our channel so that you can see our upcoming episodes. So we hope to see you again next week.
All right, thank you. Have a great week. Bye now.
Bye.